I just find it tough to tuck and not feel or say not to brace per se, because I've done that for so long. It's very hard for me to just tuck and get those abs just to kind of like quiet down.
Oh, from the beginning?
Mm-hmm. It was good, but it's like I've just never really thought about it. It was just very hard to do.
Yeah, and that's something that I recently, well, I've always cued people out of that. But if we can't get that, I don't know if you've noticed, like when you teach someone how to fully exhale, you'll see their low belly kind of pooch out.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that happen?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what do you think is happening there? Because what's supposed to happen on the full exhale? If we're looking at both diaphragms and you're fully exhaling, what is happening?
If I'm fully exhaling,
mm-hmm.
that it should be kind of like collapsing, and that air's.
Yeah. So the diaphragms would come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have our thoracic diaphragm, and then we have our pelvic diaphragm. And as we're fully exhaling, both should be ascending. But if we have the belly pooching out in the lower abdominal area, the pelvic diaphragm is probably not ascending.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that to descend as well helps. And then that's what I learned through with Sarah Martin.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So I've been coaching that because Bill Hartman was the one that brought awareness to it. I just didn't connect it to the pelvic diaphragm. So getting people to deflate that area seems to work really well, but sometimes they don't have access to any motion in the backside of their body. So putting them more in a rock back position, opening up the backside of the body, then I flip them over on their back. Sometimes that belly pooch has gone away. So sometimes it's a cueing issue, not paying attention issue, or sometimes there's nowhere else for things to move.
Yeah.
So you create that space with other exercises.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. How many breaths are we doing into each position?
That depends on the person. So with in a class setting, I usually don't give reps or how many, because your exhale might last 10 seconds and Kayla's might last 5 seconds. So if I'm telling people do 3 more, and everyone's going to finish at a different time. So I go more by time. If I am giving this to someone in a workout like routine, like a warm up, it's usually 3 to 5 breaths. So if you were to do like the all 4, 3 to 5 breaths on one side, 3 to 5 breaths on the other side.
And then too, Lucy, I guess last thing that I have is when you are trying to create buy-in with just this type of stuff with clients, what is the best way to create buy-in with the exhale? Like I truly want 8 seconds, 10 seconds, because I find it so hard to get people to actually do a full exhale.
What kind? Because they feel uncomfortable. Why are you thinking people are giving a resistance?
First, it's probably really hard because it is, and the second thing is the buy-in of it's so tough, and it's something they probably have never really done before. So just kind of explain to them in like a sentence or two as to why this will aid in their like fitness.
Mm-hmm. So a few things, and we'll go over this weekend, and then the 2 weekends after. What I've noticed when a client gives you a little bit of resistance of like, it's too much, it's because we threw too much at them and we didn't let them practice enough. So when we get that kind of reaction, our first instinct is, oh, less breathing. They don't like it. But what I've noticed is less breathing as in like less cues and less things to pay attention to. So that first session with you, they might just focus on the exhaling. And that's all you do. And then so you kind of get an idea of who you're dealing with. So when they come in for their first program, you don't frustrate them over and over again with all the breathing stuff. So if they're just focusing on the exhale and they master that, and then you add the tension a few sessions later, the breathing is now not connected to this like weird thing that makes them feel uncomfortable.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it's too much for people. And then you get that resistance of like, I don't know what you want me to do. And that's when you think, oh, they don't like this, but really it's you gave them a tuck and the tension and the reach and the tuck. So,
Yeah, I've done that 1,000 times where I'm like, reach, tuck, long exhale, and I'm like, I just always say, like, I totally like understand there's so many things going on, and that's me probably just overcoaching there.
yeah, so I'll be curious once we go over all the onboarding of how different that is of how you introduce it with a client for the first time and start implementing it that way. But yeah, it really does come down to too much at once, and then they get frustrated. Or the other thing that the pelvic floor lady brought to my attention is they're pooching out, or they're feeling that tension. They're scared they're going to pee themselves, and from what it looks like from your perspective, they're getting pissed. They're like, I don't want to do that. No, I don't like it. Really, you just made them feel uncomfortable. And that's something I had never thought of until she brought it up. She said she noticed it. The women that tend to be kind of snotty about those stuff, it's like, is it comfortable? Because you can tell me. I'm like, well, actually, I feel like I'm going to pee myself, or I'm not really sure what's going on down there. So that might be something else to think about as well. Yeah, good question. Anything else? So I figured out how to edit things on iMovie. So on the Slack group, I will put all the classes that you all have done, and then I'm cutting out the Q&A and putting those in a separate video.
Cool.
Yeah, so that way you don't have to like watch the whole hour or 45 minutes. And then if anyone watches them, that way I don't have to watch them. So if you watch them, just write a comment of what questions were asked, so then I can add it to the title of the video. Cool. Well, anything else?
Yep. Just something I think is totally off, but like I actually this is totally new for me. So like I still don't understand how this is all working, and like I'm just doing it, and I'm pretty sure like after a couple of classes I'll get to know like how this is all gonna work. I hope that I don't know, like I'm just not sure.
Yeah, well, right now, it shouldn't make sense. You're just doing it yourself. And then like, that's the goal, is you're going through the client experience. And then like the little conversation we had earlier about the diaphragms, I wouldn't expect you to know that. Tyler has been doing this for a few years. So hopefully the lecture this Saturday, you start piecing things together. And the scope of the lecture doesn't require any anatomy. So the way I explain it and the way we are going to talk about movement and coaching, the way we start doing things in these classes will start making a little more sense. So then the classes that you take after the lecture, now will start making even more sense. But yes, right now, just use in the coaching and really just kind of sitting in the client experience. And practice the cues and exhales, the exhale, reach, and tuck. So tell me, have you noticed any similarities in the exercises? Like, have you noticed some patterns that I say a lot or talk about a lot?
Yep, the tucks, like the tailbone in, and it's usually the exhale part, and it's like most of the things that are there are being on all four and pressing out, and the tailbone is the lower back is sticking onto the ground. So it's whatever I have attended till then, it's usually hips and hamstrings and lot of scapular work. So like that's what I've seen till now.
Well, to me, it sounds like you're almost pretty much already getting it. You're paying attention to the tucking, you're paying attention to low back on the ground. So hopefully after Saturday, those moves will start making a little more sense.
Hope so.
But if not, then I'll be here. So.
Okay.
Cool. Well, I will see you all later. Have an awesome day.
All right. Thank you, Lucy.
Bye.